Hi there, folks. My name is Darren Sutton, and welcome to another brand new edition of Perfect Game Stories. Relationships. That's the best part of this job and this platform. Getting to know athletes, their families, their dreams, their hopes as they ascend to college baseball and some, in the case of, let's say, a Bobby Witt, who we knew at 14 years old, all the way to the major leagues. And that's, in this show, what we hope to accomplish. Help you understand the athletes, their families, the support systems as they chase their dreams. We've got a very, very special show in that light. We're going to get to know a young man, a talented catcher who, despite battling through the challenges of autism, has risen to the #1 spot as it pertains to catchers in the state of Connecticut. And speaking of catchers, we'll get to know a young man who, out of Texas, is a catcher with the name of Catcher. It's an incredible story understanding who he is, and he's got a fun name as well. And we'll also have the story of a very gifted 2026 out of Macon, Georgia. He has risen nearly to the top of the class, a gifted infielder, and we've gotten to know he and his mom very well. It's just the two of them, fighting through life and baseball, the challenges together, while his mom battles cancer. But we start this show with the name that has become very famous in the PG and Major League Baseball world. It's the Naylor name. Of course, Josh Naylor, who's the first baseman for the Cleveland Guardians, the heart and soul of a very young franchise. There's Bo Naylor, who we knew as Noah when he was a PG All-American. By the way, Big Brother was a PG All-American as well. He's the next great catcher for those Cleveland Guardians. And now, Miles Naylor. He's very different than the other two. He's not so much of a slugger as he's an elite athlete. You see, this talented young man plays in the middle of the infield. He's committed to go to Texas Tech. He's proud of his family name. He's proud of growing up just outside of Toronto and Mississauga and being a proud Canadian baseball player and being a proud Naylor. Here's the story.
Baseball's not as big in Canada as it is in like America. I think Canada's more known for like hockey, lacrosse, and all that. But I think people should definitely stop sleeping on baseball in Canada because it's definitely a really good sport, really big sport, and a lot of talent could come out of Canada.
The kick and the pitch. Naylor with a drive into deep right center field. Gone for Josh Naylor.
They were trying to live up to the name throughout the years. Everybody's labeled me as like Josh Naylor, Noah Naylor's brother. I'm trying to obviously make a name for myself, prove that I'm a different player from them. What it means to represent Naylor to me is definitely a really good player, a really good person on and off the field. I like to be really humble. I really pride myself in that, and just for people to see that I can definitely play. Hopefully, I make it to where my brothers are in the future, and it's definitely big to represent the Naylor name. So I'm definitely hoping to fulfill that. And yeah, just hopefully everything goes to plan, and hopefully one day maybe share the field with my brothers, play against them. When I was younger, I would go with them to the facility just to like train, just watch what they do, and then one day they would take me to the cage, I'd hit with them, and then I would hit something hard and they all like yell, like scream, and they all just hype me up. So I just love practicing when I was younger. They definitely paved the path for me that I'm definitely gonna follow. With Josh, he definitely always just comes, checks in on me. Sometimes when I'm in like a little slump, he calls me when I'm doing bad, and he always like tries to encourage me, tells me stuff that he's doing, but when he does when he's bad, when he's down, and it definitely just encourages me, and I love to hear that from him, and I couldn't be more grateful. And then I think with Bo, because last year he didn't have the greatest year, he was kind of like slumped, and I didn't have the greatest year either, so we're kind of going through the same thing. I was in Jupiter the day before Jupiter because I was in a slump. He gave me a call, and we had like a deep conversation about like what we're both going through, and then how we're both gonna get through it, what we're gonna do to be better, and all that. And I think that definitely changed me. I did really good that year, so I just love being around them. I love talking with them, and it's definitely something you'd have something to prove every time you're on the baseball field. And I love to compete. I love to prove people wrong. My hopes and dreams of the next year will be just to, if not the draft, I definitely love to get drafted. That would definitely be a good opportunity. But if not the draft, going to Texas Tech, having a successful career there, great program over there. So I'd definitely be glad to join them and then have a successful college career. And then hopefully after that get drafted. If I get drafted, then have a successful career in the minors and then make it up to there and then hopefully have a successful career after that. Just trying to give people a good impression of me that I'm a good player. I can change the game with one swing. You know, I'm a big impact player in the game, and I can just do all that and then hopefully I can make it far.
You know, it's interesting, Miles is right about the example that Bo set In 2021, after pandemic of 2020, he did struggle. So did every minor league player. There were no options in 2020. He hit just 189 in Double-A. So the Guardians sent him back to Double-A, where he was so good last year that he forced his hands all the way to the big leagues. All of Canada's watching. And now Miles, all of Canada's watching you, the number one player in Ontario in the 2023 class. Parents, Chris and Janice did an incredible job. Speaking of parents, it's a built-in challenge for all parents, like Carlos and Silma Tirado and their son Gabriel. Gabriel, a talented baseball player, certainly, but there are those challenges. You got to buy the airplane tickets. You got to find the time. You got to make sure they bring their books if you're going to play travel ball. This is a young man, by the way, that those investments and sacrifices have paid off. 226 plate appearances in perfect game events, a .667 slug, 10 home runs, 33 extra bases, and the number one catcher in his home state of Connecticut. Here's what's unique. He's autistic. He's on the spectrum. It's something he discovered along with family and medical guidance at a very, very young age. It was challenging socially. It was challenging pushing through, but he has been determined and pushed right on through to where he can grow as a man, to where he can grow as a student, and really grow as a baseball player. So as we admire all that he has done with a bat in his hands, we're inspired by his determination on and off the field. Here's the story of Gavin.
I'm a 5'9", 205-pound catcher from Connecticut. I love to swing it. That's my tool. I mean, that's kind of just what got me here, and that's what's got me on the stage, and just getting that other side of the game up too has been a pleasure, and just me as a player. But yeah, I like to swing it, I like to catch, I like to be with my teammates, and I like to be a good person as well. I've always loved the sport as a young kid. At 4 years old, I started playing t-ball, and I think the most vivid memory I do have of practicing myself, at least, is that I used to have one of those Easton hit sticks, and my dad used to hold it, and then until his hands would hurt and then he couldn't hold it no more, I ended up shoving it in a tree and then taping it up and then just hitting with it all day. And that's one of the most sentimental moments for me, that I felt like I fell in love with the sport in a sense, and just that moment specifically, I felt like it's just really pivotal, and I remember that the most from my younger days. I like to create a wall with my front leg, and so I usually step and I try and stay right behind it. So that starts from my legs down right into the torso. I like to create good separation with my hands and my torso, and so I'm keeping that stretch while I'm planting my foot. And then as soon as I get the contact, I have my hands back ready to adjust to any pitch thrown to me. And so right from that point on, it's straight torso and just rotational power and just me trying to put a good swing on the ball. For a Northeast baseball player, I would say personally we're really gritty. We don't like to give up. I mean, my commitment at UConn, this season they were hungry, they were gritty, they were not satisfied. Once you let them get by on one little error, they would capitalize on it. And we take a lot of pride from being up north, because all the guys down south, they're very good at baseball, and we just want to be just as good. And so, we're gritty, we don't like to quit, and we just want to be just as good as the guy next to us. For me personally, I just tried to stick to my game personally and just stay true and kind of just work on myself, I was diagnosed at age 5 with autism, and the emotional toll as well as the physical toll just with my family and my peers around me was definitely a little heartbreaking at a young age. But I know over the years, growing and maturing as a person, not only with my peers but with my family there to help me out, it really just turned me into the person I am today. And now I embrace it, and I'm very, very aware of autism, and I'm very, very supportive of what all they're doing in Autism Speaks especially.
Well, I will tell you, he almost have a photographic memory. You can ask him about a game from a year ago. He can remember every pitch of every inning. Same with bats. He's obsessed with bats because he's a hitter. So he can tell you anything about every bat from now or 10 years old. He has that mindset. I think has helped him a lot, especially as a catcher, because he remembers if he played you 1 year ago or 1 day ago. So it's great for him.
I remember certain specific moments from 5 years ago that people that are not on the spectrum would have a tough time kind of remembering in a sense. It's just the little nuances that I feel like I kind of remember. Like, for example, if I'm on the baseball field, I know 2 innings ago, there's a runner on second. My pitcher does an inside move and I see a little hand jolt and I know he's gonna bunt. And so 3 innings later and the same situation comes up, I know it's going to happen, so I'm calling a curveball or something. And I know those little nuances I've known, or like remembering the little things, I feel like especially helps me in the baseball sense, but as well as in the world. Don't give up, honestly. Like, there's nothing that's holding you back. I mean, your biggest obstacle is yourself. And so if you can embrace what you have and everything is God-given, and, you know, if you feel like you can overtake it and do what you want to do, I mean, you can do anything. Put your mind to it and you're able to do it.
After we had that conversation, Gabby and I, at Perfect Games Junior National Showcase, he played up twice and succeeded. First at Perfect Games 17U WWBA National Championship, he was all tournament. He was incredible playing for the Real Ballers. Then he was a real baller because he went down to Jupiter, Florida, the ultimate travel ball tournament, the WWBA World Championship. Again, players a year older, some of the best on the globe playing in that event, and had a 400 on base. Get it, Gabby. When we come back on Perfect Game Stories, the story of a catcher named Catcher and an unbreakable bond between a mother and a son and their journey together through baseball. Thanks for spending time with us. This is Perfect Game Stories. Welcome back to Perfect Game Stories. I love baseball like all of you do, and I was raised around it. As a matter of fact, my father, Don Sutton, pitched for 23 years and is now a member of baseball's Hall of Fame. But as a pitcher, he taught me one thing very clearly as it pertains to baseball. Respect and love your catchers. Treat them well. They're everything, because without the catchers, you are nothing. Well, imagine feeling that way about that position, and better said, that name. You see, there is a family who had a young man born not too long ago, and they gave him the name of Catcher. And now this young man is a very gifted player, and his position, of course, he's a catcher, the number 2 catcher in the state of Texas in the 2026 class. Catcher Hopkins making his name proud, his family proud, this Texas A&M commit, and the story of a young man who has taken a name and made it very strong. Last name Hopkins, first name Catcher.
What I want people to be writing about me when they see me play is like, plays a lot of fun, energy, always does their best, and just plays the right way. I'm Catcher Hopkins, I play catcher, and I'm from Tomball, Texas. Name's Catcher, play catcher. Grandpa played minor league baseball for like a while. Said he's gonna call me that. I don't know why. And then they was like, it's the best we got. Got a middle name for the backup. Nobody else's name's Catcher, so it's pretty distinct. I think I was 6, playing like 8U, like coach pitch, and our catcher went down. I don't know why. I never caught before. My coach was like, Catcher, you wanna play catcher? And I was like, just kind of in shock for a second because it didn't really make sense. But then I was like, yeah, try it out. And I mean, rest history, just been doing that ever since. I call my own game when I am catching, which separates me a lot because most people have their coaches do that. But I'm also really good receiving wise and don't really let anything get past me, and pretty good pop time, so, and a good arm, so. The reason I'm stick with catching is you just have the most control and you can see everything. You're the general, you know. You have to be really smart and just know everything, basically. You're not gonna say anything past me. It's gonna be a lot of sequencing and good pitch calling and batters off balance and receiving the ball really well, presenting the ball for the umpire. A lot of communication, talking with my infielders and the umpire, and nobody running really because they don't want to get thrown out, and if they do, I'll throw them out. So I'll talk to the batters sometimes, especially if I know them, I'll talk to them. I talk with my infielders, first base, if he wants to backdoor kid or infielder situation, 2 outs. Pitcher, I'll go talk to him, tell him what he wants to throw, what he's feeling. The biggest thing for me, probably overall, is my height. Officially 6 foot, which is pretty cool. Didn't ever think I'd really get here, but I really grew. Changed a lot of things, arm slot, how you swing the bat, catching wise, my stances, and how I receive the ball, and just being a target for your pitchers, and it just big change. Mainly my dad's my biggest helper, and train with him a lot, almost every day, and then we just talk baseball a lot, and I learned little things from his career and things that he's learned online and with other players and coaches, because he also coaches, and I tell him stuff that he can use it with other players and coaches and my other brother. Keep helping each other all the time.
By the way, catcher's grandfather Mike, 75 years old, played in the minor leagues. No surprise there, right? And catcher said when he filled out a recent bio survey for me, I hope that at 75 I'm as funny and passionate and accomplished as much as my grandfather has when I turned 75 years old. Hey, by the way, one more family tie. His sister Lily, this coming fall, is headed to the University of Alabama, where she will play volleyball. She will be a libero, the defensive specialist for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now the story of a young man out of Macon, Georgia that has overcome and accomplished so much. Let me put it in better perspective. A couple of years ago at a large event, Perfect Game was looking to hand out an award, the Stay the Course Award, given to a young athlete who, despite challenges, has stayed the course with grades, with academics, and made sure that they are still growing as a baseball player. Well, we all reached out to the youth leaders on the Perfect Game side. They all said, and they said it unanimously, the winner for that award should be Keon Johnson. Interesting that they all said the same thing for a young man who was 12 then turning 13 years old. Why did they nominate Keon Johnson and by proxy his mom Sheena Mingo? You're about to find out.
I'm Keon Johnson. I play shortstop, third base. I go to First Presbyterian Day School. More of a kind of funny guy, quiet guy in a way. I just like to have fun, play the game, enjoy myself, and have a good time.
The National Player of the Year, Keon Johnson.
Look at the smile from Keon. They're having fun out there.
Bouncing ball, another chance. Oh, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
It's a baseball god saying, I'm giving you one, Keon.
Baseball is my only sport.
I go 7 days a week. I don't really have anybody to throw BP to me, so it's either me and a machine at a facility or it's me and a team. I started outside, work away, put it down the middle, work back up the center field, and then I put it inside to work the left field. I'm by myself, bug the ball's team, me. I gotta get some type of work done with baseball. It just has to happen. It's just important to me because I simply love the game. I realize that this might be something I want to do for the rest of my life. I don't think I'm changing that anytime soon.
My fielding has definitely gotten better from this year to last year. I feel more comfortable with my glove. I feel more comfortable making tougher plays now. And my glove from the PG Select Fest is actually the one that I use in game. It says on my pinky, for my mama. So the pink and the blue, it actually represents her. Blue is my favorite color, and the pink obviously represents her because she's a cancer survivor. So.
My name is Sheena King Mingo. My son, Keon, loves this game as much as the air he needs to breathe. I had breast cancer, which traveled into my lymph nodes. Keon was 2, I think, when it all began, and Keon didn't understand till he was probably about 5. He always wanted me to play, go outside, and I just always say, Mommy is sick, but Mommy is gonna try to get better, but better didn't seem to come. And I was really frustrated, and I didn't drive at the time. Chemo and radiation affects you. But I got in the car, and of course he jumps in with me, and I live near Mercer University, it's the college. So I was just driving. I had never been to a baseball game in my city. I had never saw it, but I ended up there. I want to say divine intervention, but he said, pull over, and the kids were out there playing, and he asked me, could he get out the car? And I said, yes, but I can't, because I couldn't be exposed to the sun. And he looked and he watched and he came back and he asked me, he said, Mom, do you think that I can be able to do that one day? And I told him, Keon, I'm sorry. I told him, Keon, you can do anything you set your mind to and your heart to. And if that's what you want to do, then one day you can and you will. At this point, I'm not working, and he asked me, he said, do we have money? And I said, not really, why? And he said, I wonder if we could maybe go to Walmart or somewhere and get me a bat and a ball. And I didn't have it, but we went.
She brought me to the nearest store, got the cheapest everything, and I looked up videos, YouTube, whatever. And I actually started playing travel ball at 9 years old.
Baseball has been the saving grace for him as a kid. It just fuels him. I drive around with about 150 balls in my car, batting tees, bats, wagons, because we can't ride by a vacant nothing that he doesn't say stop, like just a few minutes, and this is who he is. His mother suffered from cancer. He had to watch my mother die from cancer. He had to watch his other grandmother die from cancer. He had to watch both his bonus grandmother die from cancer, all within 3.5 years. And so I gotta pay homage to this sport, these fields, a bat, a ball, a glove, because when everything crumbled around him, that is the one thing that kept him going. That is the one thing that made everything else in his life all right. I pay homage to Mercer University every single day because it was a random drive-by, and he saw that and he asked, do you think I can one day do that? And he hasn't looked back since. Sorry.
What I learned from her battling cancer is to never give up of what you love, because knowing what she went through and she, still can raise me after all that she's gone through is definitely a good thing. It gave me some drive, she knows that I am one of the best to ever play this game at this age group. She knows that I can be whoever I want, when I want, how I want, and she knows that I have a big, bright future ahead of me, and I like to have that in the back of my head and always think about it.
I mean, I've been cut up left, right, left, and it doesn't define me because it's not the things that I'm missing, because who I am, my beauty starts on the inside, and beauty is what's in my heart and what I project around me. And I'm happy to say last week I had to have some tests done because there were some suspect places, but I was just recently told that it did not show cancer. So I'm really, 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 really happy about that.
In 2023, kind of my one main goal tied into many is just be a better person than you were, than yesterday. On the field, be a good teammate, do what you're supposed to do, have fun. I'm hoping that I can make it out of high school, first of all. First round, go back and do something good for her, because she's definitely put a lot of time and energy.
What a duo from Macon, Georgia, and perhaps the most impressive thing, the commitment of Sheena Mingo, Keon's mom, her commitment to her values, commitment to herself as a woman, and to her son. What a very, very proud story, and we were honored to be able to tell it. Before we turn the page completely on the story, I don't want to overlook the fact that Keon Sneaky could be a very good pitcher as well. This is an arm that already touches 90 miles an hour, and in 47 1/3 perfect game innings last year, struck out 60. This is an arm, this is a great shortstop, and a wonderful, thanks to mom, human being. We thank you for spending time with us on Perfect Game Stories. This is one of the best parts of this platform and this job. These athletes, their dreams, their families that help them reach their highest peak wherever that may be. And by the way, if you enjoy this type of content and you enjoy amateur baseball, we're the spot for you. Go to your smart device, your smartphone, and hit the App Store and download perfectgame.tv 24/7, devoted to amateur baseball. My name is Darren Sutton, and on behalf of our entire team, we thank you for enjoying these very meaningful Perfect Game Stories.